So Laura, I think everyone's here.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Okay, so Mike, since you're at Village Hall, do you want to just go ahead and call the meeting to order?
Sure. Call this meeting to order at 2:02.
Okay, thank you. And we do want to note for the record that the meeting is being held remote and in person pursuant to the Open Meetings Act waiver due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So are the other two committee members?
I'm sorry?
Are the other two committee members in the building, or because I'm not seeing them on my screen? Maybe it's just a technical issue on my end.
They're not sharing their cameras, but they are online.
I only have 4
attendees.
Got it. Okay.
I am here, but my webcam isn't set up yet. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I can't see anybody's names. I can only see the people that are on video. I can't see everybody. I just wanted to make sure everybody was here.
And Greg is here as well. Correct, Greg?
Okay.
I see you. If you want to unmute Greg and just say hello.
Hello.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And for the record, is there anyone else present at Village Hall on site?
Yeah, just the one person. Just the one person. This is new to me.
Okay, and then Allison, could you go ahead and take roll call?
Sure. Mike Acosta.
Here.
Greg Frieders.
Here.
Heidi Lendy.
Here.
Attorney Julian.
Here.
Do I need to call anyone else or just those members of the commission?
Those members.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I believe it's, can you share it, Allison? Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next order of business would be the nomination of an Ethics Commission chair. So if any of the members of the commission would like to nominate somebody as a chairperson, you can do so at this time.
I'll nominate Mike.
Thanks.
I'll second that.
Allison, can you do a roll call?
Okay. On the nomination for Mike Acosta as chair, Greg Frieders.
Aye.
Heidi Lendy.
Aye.
Mike Acosta.
I guess.
All right.
Not like it's drafted.
So the next order of business then is the adoption of the rules of procedure for the commission, and have the commissioners had the opportunity to review the draft that was circulated?
I have.
Yes, I have.
I have the email that was sent to me.
Okay, and were there any?
But I'd like to say something before this adoption occurs.
That's at the prerogative of the commission if they want to allow comment at this time or at the end.
That's fine. I'm very informal.
I'm fine with that. There's a question.
Fine.
Okay, so I have approval. Before everybody adopts this, I just want everybody to take note of the email that I had sent to number 4 and number 6. These rules were just done within the last couple of days. You do not have to adopt what is in here. You go outside of the scope. Every sitting person has taken the oath of the Illinois State Constitution to uphold those laws. And with that is the Illinois Governmental Ethics Act and State Officials Employees Act, which this is a condensed version of. And it's not in the same spirit as the law for the state. There's nothing in here discussing breach of public trust. So I would ask that the commission remove basically the statement in here where you have to stay within the scope of this ordinance only. This ordinance is extremely limiting and it almost just basically for criminal acts, and it literally has nothing in here specific to public trust. That is all.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and for the record, I'm Jeffrey Meyer, attorney appearing on behalf of Ted Cook. I realize that that's what my name appears is on the screen, but that's not my name. I just apparently had his web link. If I may briefly respond to that, I didn't intend to interject at this time, but I would point out that this commission has zero legal authority whatsoever to adopt amendments to the municipal code. The municipal code and the village board is the body that has legal authority to adopt or amend an ethics ordinance. This commission does not have unilateral authority to amend its ethics ordinance. This commission has no legal authority to expand the scope of whatever ethics ordinance exists in the municipal code. Only the village board can do that. This commission cannot do what Ms. Rockwell has just asked this commission to do. That would not be legal.
That is not what Mr. Michael had said in his response. He said it's also subject to state law.
With respect, I'm addressing my comments to this commission, not to Ms. Rockwell.
Can I defer to our village attorney, Laura? Can you comment on this?
Sure. So as far as what the Ethics Commission's role is within the purview of the ordinance that has been adopted by the village, so you are constrained by what the village ordinance grants. However, the rules that are before you for adoption today, as far as the procedure goes for the actual hearing, the ordinance does grant the commission the authority to decide what your hearing procedures are. So the rules that you're adopting, you do have latitude insofar as they don't conflict with the actual ordinance.
Anything else?
So you're saying, Laura, that when somebody that has taken an oath for public office, has taken an oath to adhere to the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and the Ethics Act that you guys adopted, you had a very limited scope of what you chose to take in. The same law from the same state Ethics Act laws that you have adopted from, because there's nothing within the scope speaking to public trust, it doesn't defer to state. So people that are elected in the village of Sugar Grove can commit crimes, and this ethics panel will not listen to any crime committed potentially because you haven't adopted any.
I'm going to respond to what the village's ethics obligations are, and the state act is not comprehensive. There's only certain components that municipalities are required by law to adopt. Two of those are the State Gift Ban Act and the Political Prohibited Activities Act, which are mirrored. The state statute is largely mirrored for those two components within the village code of ordinances. Those are the two that the state law specifically mandates that municipalities adopt. As far as there's many parameters in the State Ethics Act that do not apply to municipalities or which do not need to be adopted. The Gift Ban and the Prohibited Political Activities Act can be no less restrictive than what the state states. But other than that, the village is under no obligation in its ordinance to adopt a mere provision of the entirety of the actual state ethics component, because many of those apply to state agencies or state actors and not to local governments.
Sure, I understand.
As far as the ordinance goes, what the village has adopted is that portion which is required by law that municipalities adopt, and anything else within there is within the prerogative of the village to adopt, but they're not required to.
And so you're saying that the ethics hearing cannot take out number 4 and take out number 6? That first sentence, even though Mr. Michaels said that it's subject to state law?
Well, the state law components that it is the provision that requires that municipalities adopt certain portions which are adopted. So that's the portion of state law which it's subject to. It doesn't adopt the requirements of state law that it's not required to adopt.
So again, I will ask, when somebody comes forward and somebody that is sitting in office and they've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and something comes before an ethics hearing where some apply might it could potentially be applied to the complaints. You're saying that nobody should hear it and the ethics committee should not listen to it because nobody decided to go a little bit further with adopting any of these or consider them. So they have no reach to say, you know what, we don't want to adopt number 4, number 6. We're going to allow this to be heard. And you're saying they can't adopt that into the rules of this ethics hearing?
That's not what I'm saying. Under state law, the Ethics Commission is not even a mandated body for municipalities. The village has adopted one because they believe that that is the process that they wanted to provide to review these complaints, but the Ethics Commission at a municipal level is not required. So anything that's within the Ethics Commission's purview is beyond that, which is the minimum threshold of state law. The village just has to provide some sort of process to hear complaints. So again, what the ordinance says is within the purview of the Ethics Commission is what it's subject to. If the village board wishes to change that, it certainly can. But again, that is within the village's board's discretion, not within this commission. So this commission today is the scope of what it's been charged with is that which is currently within the ethics ordinance as it stands.
Okay, so there is no reach in any way, shape, or form is what you're saying for the Ethics Commission to say, no, we're going to allow this. The village trustees would have to approve that and adopt that. Similarly to Mr. Michaels with his overreach and what was sent over in everybody's email. There's an overreach there because it's very specific in these laws that I'm supposed to be following, yet he did not follow to the T what was supposed to be followed. So I'm a little confused about that.
And at this point, I believe I've answered the question unless the Ethics Commission, requests further clarification. On my part, I don't think I have anything further to add other than what I've explained.
It's very simply laid out. Is it Lauren? It's simply laid out in here. You said that he did not, it doesn't give him discretion and it doesn't not give him discretion. But it's very clear to everybody reading these that he overreached.
Again, I don't believe that that's an accurate characterization, but it's not my place to respond at this time unless the board directs me to.
And the board's not concerned about an overreach on the president's part. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to waste everybody's time. I mean, it's clear that there is nothing within this tiny, if you're not going to allow the board to say, no, we want to hear the full scope of things. I didn't realize that people were allowed to commit crimes that are taking oaths for public office, and that it didn't defer to the state. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think we need to really continue. I mean, continue forward because mine is clearly taken from the broader scope of the law because there is absolutely nothing in the one that you've adopted speaking to public trust.
Laura, if you have anything to add as the attorney, feel free to add if there's anything further you'd like to comment on.
Again, I mean, you are well within your rights to raise any allegation that you want, and there is a commission, to hear that grievance or those challenges, and the commission is convened and ready to hear it. So, if there's anything that falls within the village's ethics ordinance or otherwise, and you believe that you have an argument that falls within there, I mean, I certainly encourage the commission to move forward, and that is what the very purpose is. However, what I'm hearing is that you don't believe that there's a violation. I guess we just need clarification on what you're
there is a violation. It just doesn't fit within your criminal standards that you guys have adopted and forced to adopt by the state. You didn't go above and beyond to make sure that the breach of public trust or that the citizens were going to be protected from poor decisions by an elected official. So it's obvious nobody adopted that, and you're saying that nobody on the ethics committee can change that. So that is the issue here. He didn't take a car. He didn't take land. He didn't take a job. He did something that was very questionable. That was for the ethics committee to decide if he, in fact, by his actions, did something to violate the state law. It's not my decision. It was supposed to be theirs. But you're saying it's to be shut down because the village never adopted anything for its citizens to make sure that the breach of public trust would be protected.
With due respect, that is not what I'm saying. The village has adopted ethics procedures above and beyond that which the state statute requires. As I mentioned, no commission is even a requirement at all. The village has elected to have a commission, and what it has charged that commission with are violations of the Gift Ban Act and the Political Prohibited Activities Act. That is above and beyond what the state requires the village to have in any means. So to say that the village has not provided adequate process is not correct. And I want to be very clear on that the village is not required to have this commission, and it has elected to hold a commission to make sure that adequate process is given.
But they don't have the extended reach when a complaint comes in, which, by the way, according to Brent Eichelberger, this is the first one you guys have ever had. So, and it's the first one I've ever filed, by the way. So, you know, with that being said, in either of those two ordinances that you adopted, it does a single one of them discuss the breach of public trust. Maybe I missed it. So if it's not there and it's not protecting the citizens from a breach of public trust with the sitting elected official, then one would go to the expanded version and try to find it that way, because the work has not been done to protect the citizens outside of people getting cars and land and deals and jobs and, you know, all that kind of stuff. There doesn't seem to be a protection in the two provisions that you guys have adopted for that breach. So, I mean, if there isn't anything for me to attach unless I've missed it. Have I missed it? This is what I'm asking you. In the two that you have adopted, I have not seen anything where it discusses an elected official under the oath and under the Constitution of the state of Illinois, where there's any discussion of a breach of trust in where it regards to the citizens and the constituents. Am I missing that in the two provisions that you've adopted?
Mr. Chairman, if I may briefly.
With regard to how to interpret or not interpret the ordinance, again, the ordinance, you know, the provisions are what they are. And if you believe that you have a complaint or that what your challenge is falls within any of those parameters, you certainly, you know, it's well within your rights to move forward and, you know, request a hearing process. And, you know, that's what the process is established for. I can't advise you how to interpret the village's ordinance.
Well, I did interpret them as best as a person can interpret them, and there's nothing in there discussing a breach of trust with a citizen and an elected official based on their behavior outside of taking gifts and, you know, that kind of stuff. That is totally fine. We can continue to move forward, and I will let the committee go ahead and decide if they're going to go ahead and accept this motion to dismiss. I'll put that in their hands, but I'm making the argument because I think that's what's coming.
And again, I want to redirect everyone. Today, we are not here for any motion to dismiss. There's no action in that regard. We're simply discussing the adoption of the rules of procedure for the Ethics Commission.
Right, but that's where it's headed between number 6 and number 4.
Did someone else have something to add?
Mr. Chairman, I recognize what we are and aren't here for today. I have filed, as I think is permitted under the rules, a motion to dismiss. I may amend it if I can find, maybe I don't have the most recent version of the municipal code available to me. But in any event, it sounds to me as though the complainant is, if not outright admitting, certainly acknowledging that her complaint does not state a cause of action for political prohibited activity, nor for a gift ban. So if she's going to admit that and stipulate to that, I don't know what this commission is going to proceed on.
I'm leaving it up to the commission to decide what they want to do. I wanted them to hear all the facts of the case.
And again, this is not listed. Deliberation regarding the actual complaint is on the agenda for today. So any decision on the merits would need to be done at a separate time where that can be listed as an action item. So again, I would encourage the commission to go back and just recall that we're on the rules of procedure.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think that's what we're at, that we decide whether or not we go along with the way it is currently and make a date for another, for the hearing. You know, I'm new at this. I don't know what's actually going on. I just have the email from Rachel today that was handed out. I don't have anything as history on any of this, so I'm in the dark right now. Sorry.
The history has been, nobody knows what's going on except for Sean and a couple staff members. The trustees get minimal information. Everybody gets minimal information, which is why you have mass sent emails. I spoke with Allison yesterday regarding the timing of the meeting, and she had no idea that I had said that Sean had emailed me, and I had emailed him back just regarding this Tuesday afternoon time slot. He did not notify her of that. He also did not forward my email to her. It's all just laid out in the email because for me, this process has been really unfortunate. I just wanted my day to sit in front of everybody, state the case, state the law, and let the committee decide. And it has been unbelievably challenging. And it's in the best interest of all people that everybody know what's happening, what's going on behind the scenes, especially when it's inappropriate behavior, which I believe that Mr. Michaels has shown is completely inappropriate, that he overreached his capabilities within this ordinance.
And if I may respond to the chairman's concerns, again, today's purpose was just to convene the committee, to get everyone introduced for the record, and to adopt rules of procedure. I'm not sure what has been circulated at this point, but there is absolutely no discussion on the merits of the case. There is no hearing on the merits of the case, so it was not required or necessary for anything to have been circulated in advance because that hearing is not today. That hearing is at a date in the future, and that was the purpose of today, is for the committee to adopt rules by motion and then to decide on a date at which then the hearing can actually proceed.
Well, it makes me feel a little bit better.
So other than just
that
was the only item for action set for this afternoon.
Yeah, well, what I was speaking of specifically was me being told to talk to lots of different varying people, lots of misinformation or no information, and then intentionally messing up the scheduling days and times and not communicating that when I was specifically told to discuss things with him only. So the trustees don't know that. People on the ethics committee don't know that. And I think it's important to get the whole picture when you're hearing anything. And so that's the whole picture. I went into this whole thing and I had no issue with Mr. Michaels. He's created an issue that didn't exist.
Okay.
I don't, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I don't even know if it's procedurally appropriate, but at this point, I'm going to object to any further argument from Ms. Rockwell on anything other than the proposed rules that have been put before the commission.
We discussed number 4, number 6. Before they're adopted, I wanted to make my argument. I appreciate what you're saying, but that was the reason for me to chime in and say anything that I've needed to say. I am entitled to a fair due process, Mr. Meyer.
And with respect, Mr. Chairman, fair due process requires that comments be made to the commission and that parties have an opportunity to speak. I have not spoken over Ms. Rockwell, and I've requested the commission not allow her to speak over me. But her argument at this point is not germane to the issue that is before this commission. And if we're not going to have a hearing, let's not have a hearing. I mean, that's procedurally what's appropriate. There's nothing on the agenda, so let's not have a hearing. At this point, though, Ms. Rockwell is seeking to have a hearing, and I don't think that's appropriate. I think the commission should put an end to it, deliberate on its rules, vote on its rules, and let's set a hearing. If she wants to have a hearing, I'm fine having a hearing. But if it's not what we're here for today, let's not do it.
I believe that's a good idea.
I'll make a motion to adopt the rules as they were given to us at this time, because that's number one, what we're here for today. And then we can address if we need to have a hearing. So I'll make a motion to adopt the rules.
I second the motion.
Second. I'm sorry, I don't know everybody's names.
Heidi.
All those in favor?
I actually have to do a roll call because it's for COVID. Mr. Frieders made the motion and Heidi Lendy seconded it. So Greg Frieders?
Aye.
Heidi Lendy?
Aye.
And Mike Acosta?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I would encourage the commission now to determine a date which would be appropriate for a hearing on the merits.
Okay. I'm retired, so I got any time. So what's good for you guys?
I am too. Anything I would add is some prep time if we're to receive any documentation of alleged crime and or ethical issue, if we need to have it before us, some time to review prior to any hearing.
Right.
I'm assuming that's normal rather than, not ill will, but getting it an hour or two before is kind of a short time frame to kind of really digest what's given to you.
I'd like to see about a week, if that's okay with everybody else.
Sure.
That sounds good.
So would next Tuesday afternoon at 2?
Yes, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
The only other thing I would add, if there is any written documentation or email, we could get it at least maybe 24 to 48 hours prior to the meeting. If there isn't a written or alleged complaint or ethical issue, just so we have the basis of where this is coming from. So
I
May I
agree.
propose perhaps then maybe by the end of the day Friday that the parties get their information in that they would like considered at Tuesday's hearing, and that would provide the weekend and Monday for the commissioners?
yes, I would agree with that. Yes.
I would too.
That sounds good.
So
Okay, the agenda
2-5.
did not have public comment written on it, but we do want to make sure that we provide a final opportunity for public comment for anyone else.
Sure.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, may I just have clarification? So 2-5 is the deadline for submission of any written arguments, motions, evidence, whatever. And then the hearing is going to be February 9th at, I'm sorry, did you say 2 o'clock again?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything from the public?
And so there are some attendees online, and if you are online and want to comment, you use the raise the hand feature, and I can see if you've raised your hand. So I'm just going to take a couple seconds here to look. And no one is raising their hand, so I do not believe there are any comments from those attendees.
All right, then the next thing is the motion to adjourn.
Correct, and you'll want to state then that you'll be in adjournment or recess until, is it February 9th at 2 p.m.?
Okay. We'll be in adjournment and recess until Tuesday, February 9th at 2 p.m.
Okay, and you do want a motion then as well.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, stay in adjournment until February 9th at 2 o'clock.
I second that motion.
Okay.
Okay, Greg Frieders,
Yes. Aye.
Heidi Lendy,
Aye.
Micah Costa.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.